Oh,
Let's
found a couple.
see.
I've read a
All
couple.
right, let me look at it. Octavia Final.
I
Oops.
have returned to Nitrogen.
Hello, Andrew.
Hey guys.
I have returned also with food.
Yeah, I had to clean the kitchen and talk to
I'm
people.
sorry.
Oh, so the usual.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Boing, 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 wing boner.
Yeah, I was stuck outside for a while having discussed with people about ordering a
Boom.
limo.
Boom. 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 Swag. Sorry, I was just decided.
I'm sorry, guys. I forgot that I had my mic off. You guys, they could hear you. They couldn't hear me. But now they can hear me.
No,
Yay!
well, it's okay. It was just. It wasn't very important, was it?
No. Well, basically, except for the other things. Let's see. What did I say during that story? I said, God damn. Oh, yeah, Celestia knows. Celestia knows when a mirror is playing with herself. She's like, I smell a horny mare near.
I smell a marinade.
I smell heat.
A
It's like, oh,
marinade is a mare indeed.
Oh, no.
let's see. Let me take a look and making a decision.
Alright. How was that, guys? I looked at the soundboard. It looked like I was like fucking loud. Turn me into a mare now, is somebody saying. It's like,
One day.
Well, found a 6-page vinyl scratch Octavia shipping.
ooh.
It's called Making Sweet Music Together.
God, it's a generic name, but anyway, go on ahead.
Generic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how that's going.
No, I mean the name. It's very generic. Making
I
sweet.
know, but let's see
Very.
how the story goes.
Ooh.
Octavia made sure to stay concealed with the rowdy crowd of ponies dancing to Vinyl's music as her final song of the night ended. As she watched her retreat backstage, she caught sight of how exhausted she was. Her cloak glistened with sweat, as well as her mane being less unruly and more batted down. Octavia didn't realize how exhausting being a DJ could be. Octavia would never admit it, but she had found an appreciation for this loud and cruel jumble of sounds Vinyl called music, and wanted to go backstage herself and tell her this, one musician to another. However, when she came upon Vinyl's personal preparation room, the door was locked and a loud, unhindering moaning could be heard from inside.
Yes.
Octavia had gained a few more or less suggestive ideas of what Vinyl was doing in her personal room, but decided to knock anyway. Once her hoof had rapped twice on the door, an unceremonious stumbling could be heard from inside. Just a minute, Vinyl had said, scrambling to make herself presentable. Once she had figured enough was concealed from her activity, she opened the door and saw none other than Octavia, the very mirror who had called her music rubbish. Seeing this high-strung stuffed shirt, as Vinyl called it, she immediately put on a face that communicated the words, "The hell do you want?" That's my personal touch. And shot it at Octavia. Oh, hello, Vinyl. Octavia began stumbling upon her words, having easily defined body language contained in Vinyl's sudden change in demeanor. I just wanted to. Her eyes began darting to everywhere except the shock blue maned mare in front of her. Wanting to rag on my tune some more, stuffed shirt. Vinyl had been particularly bad night and honestly didn't have the capacity for Octavia's typical behavior, so she decided to give her the grand tour of her dressing room. Well, come on in. Let's see how low class I am. Wait a minute.
Damn, Vinyl is mad.
Being a classical pony and Octavia being classical, well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Octavia stood at the doorway, struggling to make a sentence while Vinyl began the first attack. But those ruby irises, they had her entranced. Once she began to utter syllables, she found herself being rushed into the dressing room by Vinyl, who was actually very irritated. Well, take your pick. What are you going to start insulting me about first? Vinyl was glaring daggers at Octavia, who only stared at her as if hypnotized. Vinyl was still feeling irritated at her presence, so she made efforts to rush along. Okay, let me help you. See how the mirror and makeup table are so unorganized? I must be such a commoner to use this mirror in such a state. I don't even use makeup, and yet most of the supplies are lying on the floor and scattered about the table. Finally, I had to make sure to put emphasis on those words, thinking this would help along the process. However, Octavia was only staring at her as she stormed around the room, pointing at various objects and then glaring back at her, Vinyl's words only registering dull, unintelligible mumbles. As if the eyes themselves had a hold of her attention, giving her tunnel vision. And look at the saddle rack. Most of them are splayed about the floor, and yet I don't even wear a single item beyond my shades when I perform. What on earth can explain this? Vina was now imitating Octavia's slight accent, making sure to be as snooty as possible in her terrible mocking dialect. Eventually, a fragment from Octavia's conscience had returned to her, and the fact that she was not a welcome guest had registered now that she had made an attempt to explain herself. Vinyl? But her quiet sense was overpowered as Vinyl continued to criticize herself. Oh yeah, there's potato bags and wrappers all over the floor. She must be some sort of brute. Her poorly imitated dialect continued as she continued on, eyes maniacally darting about the room, looking for something else to make its insult up. Vinyl, Octavia tried again, only to be ignored once more as Vinyl found another object to latch onto. Hey, look at this uncleanly window. You can barely see through it. If she wanted privacy, and then that's what Celestia give us curtains for, she said. She made sure to include more body language and outrageous gestures while targeting the aspect of her dressing room. Vinyl! Octavia gave a final, much louder attempt at getting her attention, emptying her lungs in the process. What? Vinyl returned with another razor-sharp glare. At this point, it was a full battle of wits. Both mares staring each other down and panting as if they were actually fighting. Octavia, suddenly silence, quiet, said, I just wanted to tell you that you did a good job tonight. That's all. It took Vinyl a few seconds for the sentence to register, as suddenly she put a hoof to her face. Fucking hell! I'm sorry, I just had a bad day, and she was suddenly cut off by Octavia, raising the hoof to take her attention once again. I understand, and I forgive you. But seeing you so high-strung compared to your normally... She struggled for a nicer word to refer to Vinyl's carelessness. Carefree demeanor. I like to see if I can help you relieve the stress. After what felt like a few minutes of silence, Octavia's eyes began absent-mindedly searching around the room, waiting for Vinyl's reply. No, I got this. Just had a bad day. It can actually help if you leave me. Her face suddenly flushed red at Octavia's eyes, looking onto a certain poorly hidden phallic object laying in the corner. Look, I'm sorry you had to see that, but could you just... She lost her sense as Octavia offered a shy smile. Well, I did say I wanted to help you relieve stress. Vinyl was taken off guard at this reply, but her face of shock slowly turned into a trademark grin. Despite Vinyl's face, her words still carried the air of uncertainty. Well, if you want, I got another one, and boom! She was suddenly silenced once again by the other mare. But this time, a deep kiss from Octavia, complete with probing tongue, and all had quite literally taken the words out of her mouth.
You know what? That just got me thinking. God damn it! It just got me thinking. It's like can you go back to the sentence with the mouth thing again?
What?
The kiss.
She was suddenly silenced once again by the other mare, but this time a deep kiss from Octavia, complete with probing tongue, and all had quite literally taken the words out of her mouth.
Yeah, that reminded me of like freaking you get something for dinner. So it's gonna be dinner time. All right, keep going. This is getting good.
Oh, you're making me hungry, and I had 2 sandwiches. Probably wasn't enough.
Just keep
Damn it.
going. Just keep going, my friend.
Man. Octavia rolled the kiss and spoke, with a subtle blush formed upon her face. Oh, we will need self. Vinyl was once again shocked at Octavia's reply. But when she was able to take her eyes off the thin rope of saliva trailing between her mouths, she began to back away slowly from her nervously, her quickly failing grin once again occupying her face. Octavia took the offense, walking up to her with half-lidden eyes, eventually backing her against the wall. Once Vinyl realized she was out of retreating space and backed against the wall, she rose to her hind legs, still holding her withering grin. A look of subtle fear began seeping through. Octavia followed suit and rose to her hind legs, balancing herself by rooting her front hooves on the wall on either side of Vinyl's head. No words were exchanged, but only Octavia giving her a sly wink and getting back down to 4 hooves, and began slowly licking at Vinyl's cutie mark. At this point, Vinyl was sure if her blush were any redder, her head would implode, this distracting thought taking strength from her hind legs. Slowly but surely, she sank to the floor and sat her on haunches in an embarrassing daze. Octavia was pleased with the effect of her move, and began to sit down, her sitting position placing her lower than Vinyl and her head in a rather suggestive position, hovering above the white coat of mare's inner thighs. Octavia looked at Vinyl's face, practically dripping with embarrassment, and offered another sly wink, before sticking out her tongue and began to trace her way around Vinyl's inner thighs, going in circles, and purposely avoiding Vinyl's delicate area, mentally laughing at herself for being such a tease. Vinyl was utterly unsure what to do, as her brain became overloaded with emotions as well as tempting hormones. Once her brain had quit, the hazardous mixture of hormones and instinct took over, resulting in something she did that was all too rewarding for Octavia. She began panting and looking down at her with pleading eyes. Octavia continued to lick around Vinyl's inner thighs, purposely avoiding her flower and laughing to herself, or warning herself with another look at her recipient's face. Vinyl was busy panting quietly as her tongue began rolling out, and she quietly said, "Quit being such a tease, Philly." Octavia took this as a cue to begin, but she wouldn't immediately take the plunge. Oh no. She was on a mission to please. She removed her tongue from the trail her saliva had made amidst Vinyl's inner thighs, and using the tip of her tongue, licked slowly across Vinyl's delicate folds, immediately resulting in a sharp gasp and tensing muscles, which soon after relaxed once again. Vinyl was waiting eagerly for her to plunge her tongue inside. Once Octavia had taken that dainty taste test, she absolutely turned to putty, her eyes rolling upward and her panting becoming slower. Octavia had begun her descent, taking slow tastes with her tongue, and each time she dragged it back and forth, she pushed in a bit farther, each advance getting a quiet gasp out of Vinyl. Octavia had figured sorry.
You're right.
Ah, damn, I need a drink first. Be right back.
Mm-hmm. Look
It
at
appears all
my
this action has
little...
left him parched.
Ha 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 ha. Look at my little pony. It's amazing. Give it a lick. It's just like crazy. Another stroke of its mane. It turns into a nacho. Then it turns gay. Then it turns into Spain. Then it turns back into Pinky. That's 30 New Year. Random ass intermission. Oh my god.
I just want Pinky mode in the chat.
Wait, Pinky Moan in the chat?
Pinky mode.
What do you mean by Pinky mode?
When my eyes go pink, I become pinky.
Oh. Oh, Pinky Mellow.
Yep.
Aww. Hey, Gonzo.
Back.
Okay.
Making myself trying to get a little comfortable.
Ah, because you're getting a little turned on by this, aren't you?
More like looking at awkward positions. Damn it. It's hard to deal with a recliner and a desktop table.
Yeah.
I know that feel.
And a board you gotta use just to put your laptop on your lap without the unfortunate,
Mm-hmm. You have an ottoman or no?
Not right now.
Oh, alright then.
Let's continue.
We shall.
Octavia figured that she was done being rather cruel, and started to put her tongue to make farther pushes inside Vinyl's folds, each push being rewarded with Vinyl's own liquid excitement. Vinyl's reactions to each push made by Octavia's tongue was audibly calmer, yet her mind was in total bliss, her love becoming more sensitive than ever before, each section of her that the grey mare's tongue had made contact with giving a small convulsion. Once Octavia had crusaded as far as she thought was necessary, for now, she retracted her tongue and made a bold move, smothering Vinyl's clit with her tongue and twirled the tip of it against it. Vinyl's withering resolve had finally broken, this move being rewarded in a long, loud moan, and Vinyl's hooves lightly pressed against the back of Octavia's head, a slight plea for more. Ah, damn it, hang on.
Take your time.
Oops. No rush there, my friend.
Nope.
There we go. Think, yeah. Octavia decided this is enough of an introduction to her talents, and began pressing and retracting her tongue in and out of her pink folds at a steady pace. This new pace was welcoming to Vinyl, resulting in a high-pitched whine followed by an increasing breathing rate. Octavia decided to go at this a steady pace for a bit longer, but enhanced her movements. She began twirling her tongue and flickering it while pumping. Vinyl had given up all hope of staying quiet and began audibly moaning, which only intensified once Octavia had begun twirling her tasting palate within. Vinyl's vagina began to convulse tighter and tighter, and Octavia took that as the cue to stop for a second. Octavia removed her tongue, lifted her head up to look at Vinyl, who had a look that simply spoke with a pleading tone. Why did you stop? Octavia simply shared a short kiss with her and muttered to her, Ready? Vinyl's panting was simply uncontrollable, so all she could muster in reply was, Uh-huh. Octavia slowly lowered herself back down and puckered her lips and began sucking and licking Vinyl's clit. The white-coated mare's previously drowsy eyes shot open with pleasure as her moans were given new volume, louder and louder. Her hooves once again pressed into the back of Octavia's head. Octavia reached one of her own hooves down to pleasure herself subtly, when she once again took her mouth off of Vinyl's folds and thought to herself with her trademark haughty smile, Now for the big finish. Suddenly she put her whole mouth over Vinyl's fold again. This time she pushes her tongue farther than before. Vinyl began to buck her hind legs outward violently as she moaned audibly, I'm gonna come! Octavia took this as a cue and suddenly shot her tongue even farther, giving a strong jab to Vinyl's G-spot, resulting in a sharp gasp from the other mare. Suddenly, Vinyl's vagina convulsed and clamped around Octavia's tongue like a pulsating, fleshy vice grip as a new small torrent of juices flooded past Octavia's trapped and then past trapped mouth, which goes straight into it. Oh, fuck yes! Yes! Cried Vinyl as she pressed the other mare's face into her crotch. Once Vinyl's grip on her tongue loosened, Octavia removed herself from Vinyl's snatch and tasted some of the new liquid that had pooled upon her palate, a large enough amount to deserve a quiet audible gulp.
Ooh.
Octavia began panting herself as she stared into Vinyl's room. But their gaze again, the both of them rather exhausted. Octavia lowered herself and took 3 sloppy laps of Vinyl's trembling vagina and then rose to give Vinyl a long, open-mouthed kiss. Their tongues mingled with each other as Octavia shared Vinyl's fluid with her own mouth. After a few seconds that felt like eternity, Octavia broke the kiss, leaving a trail thin of saliva and other substances hanging between the still harder mouths. The gray mare closed her eyes and lowered her head against to rest on Vinyl's midsection and slumber, as Vinyl used the remaining portion of her conscious will to will her magic into closing and locking the door to her dressing room. And as she nodded off, Vinyl thought to herself, and they say only unicorns could make magic. The end.
Nice way to end it.